competitive world, average won't cut it. The Success Launch Point shows you how to stand out, deliver massive value, and rise above the crowd. With on-demand courses, expert coaching, and a community focused on growth, you'll accelerate your career and your paycheck. It's time to level up. Check out modernobserver.com/launchpoint.
America heads to the polls, SNAP benefits to be partially funded, another AI deal, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Voters head to the polls today for local and state elections nationwide, with attention focused particularly on several high-stakes contests, including the New York City mayor's race between Democrats Zohran Mamdani and former Governor Andrew Cuomo, the New Jersey governor's race pitting Republican Jack Ciattarelli against Democrat Mickey Sherrill, and the Virginia governor's race between Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. Meanwhile, Californians head to the polls to vote on Proposition 50, which would allow the Democrats to further gerrymander California's congressional districts to block the little Republican representation the state has. Democrats are significantly outspending Republicans on advertising in the key races in Virginia, New Jersey, and other states, often by tens of millions of dollars. The Trump administration told a federal judge on Monday that it would use $4.65 billion in contingency funds to pay 50% of the normal SNAP benefits for November to the approximately 42 million Americans who receive food stamps. This decision came after U.S. District Court Judge Jack McConnell ordered the administration not to stop the payments, although the administration declined to tap an additional $4 billion in emergency funds, known as Section 32 tariff revenue, stating that the money must be saved for child nutrition programs. This partial payment completely depletes the SNAP contingency fund, leaving no cushion for new applicants, disaster assistance, or fully funding the program as long as the government shutdown continues. The Supreme Court is set to hear the case challenging the constitutionality of President Trump's tariffs. The case will determine the scope of power that the president can authorize under a law bestowing emergency power to the executive branch during a crisis. The United States has reportedly submitted a plan to the UN Security Council for the establishment of an international stabilization force in the Gaza Strip, a linchpin of President Donald Trump's peace plan for the region. According to multiple reports, the draft resolution would authorize the force to operate in Gaza through the end of 2027 with the possibility of extensions. The proposal is meant to be negotiated by UN Security Council members to determine governance and security of Gaza for at least the next 2 years, according to a copy obtained by Axios. A U.S. official told the outlet that the International Stabilization Force would be an enforcement force, not a peacekeeping force. It would include troops from several nations and work alongside a Gaza Board of Peace, a new body Trump says he will chair. Kimberly-Clark announced Monday it is acquiring Kenvue, the maker of Tylenol, Listerine, and Band-Aid, in a cash and stock deal valued at approximately $48.7 billion, creating a massive consumer health goods company. The transaction is expected to close in the second half of 2026 and will combine Kimberly-Clark's household brands like Huggies and Kleenex with Kenvue's products, resulting in a company with roughly $32 billion in annual revenue. Kimberly-Clark shareholders will own about 54% of the combined entity, which will retain Kimberly-Clark's headquarters in Irving, Texas, and aim for $1.9 billion in cost savings within 3 years. OpenAI and Amazon signed a $38 billion cloud deal. The 7-year deal marks the first partnership between the two tech giants. OpenAI bought $38 billion worth of capacity from Amazon Web Services, allowing it to access hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA's graphics processing units at Amazon's data centers. The companies inked the deal less than a week after OpenAI revised its agreement with Microsoft to let OpenAI get more computing resources without first offering the business to Microsoft. It's much smaller than OpenAI's $250 billion cloud deal with Microsoft and its $300 billion deal with Oracle, but it still represents a significant new relationship. Dick Cheney, the controversial 46th Vice President of the United States, died on Monday. He was 84 years old. Cheney died due to complications of pneumonia, cardiac disease, and vascular disease, his family confirmed in a statement. Cheney served as Vice President to George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009. Known as a war hawk who played a pivotal role in the U.S. invasion of Iraq, Cheney also held office as a congressman in Wyoming in the 1980s and as defense secretary for former President George H.W. Bush. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.